Welcome back to the Graphite Curve Studio. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't. We have tons of videos coming soon, and you're not going to want to miss that. Today we'll witness the newest addition to my collection. I was thinking about this idea around the time I was started Angela. I knew I wanted to do something for Valentine's Day, but I didn't want it to be cliche. Girls with lots of roses, girls in lingerie, the usual social media fluff. I wanted three things out of this drawing. I wanted her to look modest, I wanted her to look attractive, and she needed to have a beautiful smile. Something subtle, like she knows something. When I thought of some of my favorite smiles, a few names came to mind. Victoria Justice. But I've drawn her before, so not right now. I know this may seem controversial, but Kristen Stewart. Hear me out. Kristen Stewart is the kind of person that doesn't smile often. But when she does, it feels meaningful, simply because her smile is so rare. At least it is in the media. Taylor Hill, my favorite Victoria's Secret angel. She has a beautiful smile, but I know what I want to do with her. And that'll be another video in the future. And then it hit me. Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss was a wrestler for the WWE. I watched her when she was at NXT, a developmental center, where they teach people how to wrestle for TV. And when she got the call to the main roster, SmackDown, I was excited. I watched her in fierce rivalries, and I watched her win 5 world titles. I watched WWE right up until the moment All Elite Wrestling started in October of 2019. After that, I never saw her wrestle again. Mostly because AEW Dynamite was so good, but I never forgot her smile. So when I was resting while working on Angela White, I decided Alexa Bliss would be my Valentine in 2024. In mid-January, I had the reference body, but I needed a better head. Everything lined up. A pretty face, a body for Valentine's, the composition was ready. The first day I worked on this, I was up at 2 in the morning. Not by choice. I couldn't go back to sleep. But I got a lot done. While listening to Myron Golden videos, I was focused. Piece by piece, little by little, it was really the only way to get it done. I started with the darkest part of her hair. I tend to think of my drawings as if I'm making a coloring book. First the outline, then the darkest parts get filled in. I think to myself, if it looks like a coloring book or a comic book, we're on the right path. As always, the hair is simply just lines repeated over and over and over again. Sometimes I cheat with blonde hair by covering the area with a mid-tone, then go over it with an eraser to pull up the highlights. Now comes the most interesting part of the drawing, the face. First, she's very light-skinned, which means you can't go too heavy on the midtones, which would be her skin. Second, she has very straight eyebrows that give her a very intense look. Adding to that is the fact that she has blue eyes. When you turn the image grayscale, it's the same tone as her skin, but it does give her that intense look. I really did enjoy drawing her eyes. Maybe we'll draw another, just a portrait, in the future. Getting the likeness on someone, especially someone famous, is one of the hardest things to do. That's why her face alone took almost 2 hours. You have to hit all the landmarks, but in a very distinct way. Now, we draw one of her most distinct features, at least to me. Her nose. It's not big by any stretch. It's just noticeable, at least to me. That's the thing about being an artist. You notice stuff that others don't. And Little Miss Bliss has a very distinct nose that I appreciate. and admire. Then comes the smile, a very wry smile, if you will, almost as if she's on the edge of laughing. The corners of her mouth pulled up, making her cheeks round. It's important to get the smile lines right. Too dark and it'll appear as if I've aged her. Let me know in the comments if you think I did a good job. I like the way the face turned out. I've never been this excited about a likeness. To finish off the first section, I added the shadows under her chin and called it a day. Five hours went into the first session, but I think it was worth it. Day 2 was about her body. I began with her right shoulder. Only minor shadows are needed, as the light is coming from above. I worked from the top of her shoulder to her forearm before working on her breast. I worked on the breast and the ribcage at the same time. This is new for me, as I usually like to isolate both the breast first and then the chest and stomach after. But I needed the shadows under her breast to inform how light or how dark the breast would be. Layers and layers to get it just right. Here I use an eraser to give the indication of the Montgomery glands, the little bumps on the breast. Then I work on the shadow area between the breasts. This had a very unique shadow shape that I needed to capture as accurately as possible. Then I work on the neck and shoulder shadows in order to connect both parts. The second breast is the same process as the first. Mid-tone, shadow, highlights underneath. I've learned that there are two main parts that are most important in my drawings. The face and the breasts, depending on which way she's facing. If either one of those is wrong or messed up, people don't enjoy it. This is probably the most time-consuming thing about drawing, to make sure everything is right and in the correct proportion. The secret to great breasts is studying spheres. Once the breast is in place, I began darkening the ribcage, once again as it seems to have lightened. While I was working on the whole project, I noticed that some darker areas seemed lighter when I went back to them, like when paint dries lighter than when you applied it. If anyone knows if this was real or just imagined, let me know, cause it bugged me a lot. Each area I darkened meant something else needed to be darker, and on, back up her body. I then shaded the armpit to connect to the rest of the body, and began working on her left arm. Same as before, shoulder to forearm, layering here, layering there, till it looked right. I began by reaffirming the contours of the hip and leg. I used the 2H pencil to begin laying down tone across the whole leg, then blend with a stone. Several layers go down before I start with the darker shadows. I've never tried rendering a leg in such a position, but there's a first time for everything. I layer in the core shadow of the leg before beginning on the shadow that she casts on the floor. I begin working on the forearm, blending in order to connect the two areas together. I'll erase and define the teddy bear, then begin with light rendering. The beginnings of the bear is in 2H, but I will move to darker values as needed. Another first here, in that this is the first teddy bear I've ever drawn. I took special care to get this right, as he's front and center of the picture, and failing here would hurt the overall composition. The bear is mostly composed of tiny circles that I didn't blend, but I needed the rough texture in order to get a distinct difference between her smooth skin and the fuzzy nature of the bear. The reference image's bear didn't have highlights in the eyes and had somewhat of an angry expression. I wanted it to be cute and inviting, so I added highlights that would match the image. The muzzle was a lighter value than the head, so the top part is pure white. The smile is toned down from the original to make it cuter. I finished the bear's head by completing the other side. I began finding and fixing little details. There wasn't much to note about the foot, only that I made sure that the roundness was readable from a distance. On the third day, I began the plush heart that the bear is holding. I used a technique I've seen Jono teach in one of his videos, and I wasn't sure it was going to work. I used a mechanical pencil, with the lead pushed back in to scratch the words, "Be mine," into the heart. I went over it with 2B pencil to darken the heart. Sure enough, it worked. It allowed me to see the letters underneath, and then erased them so that they appear white. I darkened the heart and went back to the foot and its cast shadow. It was while working on the heart that I realized that the bear also had a rose. In grayscale, I couldn't tell what that was, but I was just gonna include it anyways. I darkened the heart and then moved on to the other foot. Same as before, only now I was trying to make both similar to one another. I worked on the cast shadow of the foot before placing her forearm behind it. The other leg was no different than before, only opposite. Layering up for the desired likeness. But we're not done yet. Something had been bugging me since day 2. I felt like her shoulders were too wide, and I believe that happened only because I may have drawn the head too small. So instead of leaving it and not liking it, I decided to narrow her shoulders and see what happened. I erased them and then re-added the shadows in. Tell me in the comments if you think I should have left her shoulders alone, or if you like it better this way. I added a few details that I thought were needed. I think she looks cuter this way. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a happy Valentine's Day.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, put your hand to the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel?